This next lady is brilliant. You can find all of her work at liveuptofreedom.com. Fascinating life story. Migrated to the United States, fled Islamic oppression, and I'm not going to get her first name correct, so we'll go with the Twitter handle. Kind of like Asian nail salons where all of a sudden their name is Tammy.
Yes.
So we'll go with Anni Cyrus. Thank you so much for being with us.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, don't think it'll be your pleasure. We haven't gotten into it yet, and usually people change their opinion. So we got an email from Tony Bugle, friend of the show, said, you have to have her on, and I've actually seen your stuff around. You really specialize not only in Sharia law and how it treats women, and of course you're excoriated for some of the stuff that you talk about, but what's really important is you've had firsthand experience. For those who don't know, you were, from what I read, you were sold off as a child bride very young. And, well, you take it so I don't botch it. Why have you made this your life's mission to educate people on Islam and its relation with women?
Well, I was born and raised in the Islamic Republic of Iran with an N at the end, not a Q. It's Iran. And I basically, not only was an Islamic country, it was also a very Islamic family that I grew up in. My father was a sheikh, or better known as imam here. And my mom was a Quran teacher and a woman who would teach other women how to be a obeying good Muslim wife. Mm-hmm. So I had to face it inside and outside. Somehow some of the people get lucky inside their family, they're not too religious. But in my case, I had to deal with both. And growing up until age 15, I basically faced almost anything except death a woman can face in Sharia law. I was put in prison, I was lashed, I was sold to a marriage, and I was beat up. Obviously, that's a very normal thing that happens to a woman.
Well, hold on, why? Like, why? Did they just do it because it was Thursday, or because you were lippy? What was their justification?
Well, I do and did have a big mouth. Well, I wasn't the type to just take it. So I would ask too many questions. I was suspended from the school for asking too many questions about Quran. My dad a couple of times punched me for asking, why do I have to cover my hair at age 7 going to school and the boys don't do it? Or I would ask, why do I have to do the prayer? Or I would ask, I would just keep asking questions, and none of them ever made sense to me. Until today, it doesn't make sense to me. However,
well, that didn't change.
It won't. There is no making sense out of Islam, because there is no sense. It's just one thing, and one thing is you either obey, you end up dead. That's just the way it is.
Now, some people will say, oh, this is anecdotal. It was your personal experience. It's not necessarily representative of mainstream. In places like Iran or more moderate places, let's say, like the UAE, that's what they'll say to try and rebut this very interview. What do you say to those people?
Well, I normally say, grab a Quran. If you don't have the actual whole copy, go to Quran, Quran.com. Find 4th surah named An-Nisa in Arabic, or the woman in English, 176 verses. Go ahead and read the first 13 verses and you get your answer. On the first 13 verses, it will tell you Allah himself that a woman is worth half a person. It will tell you to beat your woman if she's not obeying you until she obeys. So keep beating until she comes back to obeying you. It does tell you that if you feel like you need more than one wife, you are allowed to get up to 4 permanent wives and unlimited sex slaves. Well, there you have it. It's right in your Quran.
Well, I would say that is an answer, but they would say that it's not a good one. Is that a fire alarm beeping that I'm hearing off in your thing? Do you have one of those? Is it a battery that's not replaced?
Oh, you can't hear that?
I can hear. Well, it's just saying it's because you're smoking. You took off the headdress and you're a good-looking lady, and it's saying, this is what happens when you're in Western society. I'm sorry, wildly inappropriate. I'm very
No,
apologetic.
it's all right. It's good.
It's okay, because I know you won't beat me, and I won't beat you, because I believe you catch more bees with honey, not beating the crap out of them like bearded Muslims do. So Muhammad did that. Now, let me ask you this, point blank, and then we'll move on with your story. So just give me yes or no. Did Muhammad have a child bride?
Yes. Did
Muhammad beat his wife?
Yes.
Did Muhammad have sex with someone who was not his wife as a sex slave?
Yes.
Okay. I want to make sure that's clear, and because you can go to liveuptofreedom.com, and Anni Cyrus will explain it far better than I have. I've explained it on the show. I just want to make sure that people know point blank all those things are true. They can search them. So you're sold. How old were you when you were sold into being a bride?
I was about 13, 14 when I was sold.
Okay. Now, forgive me, you don't have to answer this. They argue Muhammad didn't consummate until several years after. Was that pretty much this husband was able to do whatever he wanted immediately?
Oh, Muhammad consummated the marriage at age 9. Aisha was 6 when he got her, but consummation was at age 9. I was 13, 14, way past that age, yes.
So was that incredibly scary, or was it just kind of something that you knew, so you grew up with, and so it was just sort of another day in the life?
For me, it wasn't so much as scary. It pissed me off because I hated the pig, and I couldn't say no. I mean, I tried saying no. Pretty much every bone in my body has been broken at least once. I'm still dealing with some broken bones, believe it or not. I have to do 2 surgeries because of bones he broke. But it wasn't so much of a scary no. It pissed me off.
Right.
Pretty much hated it.
Now, I'm sure that made you really mad. But does it make you even more mad that when you come out and you speak about this? Because I've seen the reactions to you that privileged leftists in the United States and California say, well, she's just angry and bitter. It's not representative of Islam. I would imagine that is probably more overall upsetting.
Oh, yes, it does really piss me off when they say, oh, you just had a couple of bad experiences. Oh, really?
Right.
I'm giving you verses from Quran and I'm giving you hadith from Muhammad, and you're telling me these are bad experiences. Yes, it does piss me off. However, I try to control my anger.
Right. Well, that's true. Well, and now you is this effectively your life's work, educating people and lecturing?
Yes, pretty much. That's all I do. 24/7.
And do you do a lot on college campuses? What's the reaction to that like right now? Because people have requested me be banned for making jokes about Islam, or of course, fat shaming, whatever they're triggered by today. But since that's your thing, have you had any specific reactions or been banned from campuses?
Oh, I was never allowed in. I was turned down by any college, any high school, any university I ever sent a request to have a speech.
So where do you do your speaking?
Well, pretty much all of it is through my videos. I do the videos, they get shared on social media, on YouTube. Sometimes they take them down, and we have a backup, so we put it back on. I haven't had a single chance to get anywhere as far as public speaking. Yeah. They just won't let me.
Well, and you know what's funny too? I think not only because people don't like what you have to say, but even if people might agree with you, and I've seen this behind the scenes, they're too afraid to take the risk with someone like you because it's a real security factor.
True. So, yes, they are afraid.
So, okay, so what if you have to, so let's say, assume this is a video. What is it that you want people, having lived your life, to understand about Islam? What's most important for them to get that you think people are missing?
Islam is not a religion.
Okay.
Islam is an ideology.
Yes.
That's the main thing they need to know, because as soon as we get that out of the way, the very first thing is they cannot hide behind our First Amendment anymore. So they can't have a free pass.
Okay. So you say can't hide behind the First Amendment. So obviously we're talking about no abridgment thereof as relation to religion. Obviously the press has included freedom of speech. What do you mean they can't hide behind the First Amendment? Would you shut down mosques? Do you mean no with Sharia? How far would you go?
Well, to be honest, if it's up to me, I would definitely go with ban Sharia. When you ban Sharia, they can't have mosques either, because one thing about mosque is a lot of people actually automatically assume a mosque is where they do their prayers, and no, they don't. As soon as a mosque goes up, that means that area has been conquered by Sharia law. That mosque turns into a Sharia court, meaning any person who's practicing Islam, any woman will be in danger in that area, because the husband doesn't have to take actual legal steps anymore. They just go to the imam at the mosque and take whatever order they want, including beheading and a stoning.
Well, hold on a second. Are you saying all mosques function as Sharia courts?
Single mosque. Yes, the mosque is also a Sharia court.
Okay, I didn't know that, because I know there's like 80-something mosques in Sharia courts, officially in the UK. And we have plenty of mosques here in the United States. Those aren't labeled as Sharia courts. Are you saying people are wrong? That's under the radar. They're acting as courts?
Yes, pretty much that's what it is. If you grab the Al-Bukhari Hadith book, there are over 72 Hadith in there where Muhammad mentions that every imam that runs a mosque has the power to make decisions for family courts, which turns into a Sharia court.
Okay, I guess I was under the because listen, I'm very, very hard on Islam. If anyone has seen the videos that I've done, I was under the impression that maybe that dealt more like with private marital counseling or family disputes, like you might see in a Christian church, right? Couples having trouble, they go in, they see a counselor, and they try and remedy the relationship. Do you mean that, or you mean it goes further as to actually making legal decisions like divorce with legal ramifications?
Oh, yes, that's what a imam in a mosque does. Let's go back to Islamic Republic of Iran for a second. All of the judges are actual imams. In order to become a judge, you don't go and study law, you study Sharia in order to be a judge.
So all judges are imams, but does that mean that all imams are judges?
No, it depends on what level of imam they are.
Okay.
However, any imam who runs a mosque is a judge.
Okay.
In order to lead a mosque, you have to be a judge level of imam.
Okay, so
meaning you are allowed to send out fatwas.
Okay, explain what that is for people who don't know, myself included.
Oh, okay. Fatwa or fatwa, they pronounce it both ways.
Oh, I know fatwa. I know that. So, okay, but continue.
Well, the correct Arabic pronunciation of it is fatwa.
Okay.
That's how they say it. But it's basically a sentencing that is given to a Muslim who has disobeyed or walked away from Islam or, insulted Allah or Muhammad or anything that goes against Sharia law. That's the sentencing or judgment for that Muslim. It's called fatwa.
Well, because people have said they put a fatwa on me. Can't it be done for a non-Muslim for mocking Muhammad? Because that's what I was told, that I had one on me for repeatedly mocking Muhammad.
Well, you need to keep one thing in mind. In eyes of Muslims, every person that was ever born is Muhammadian or a Muslim. So you might think you're not a Muslim, but they look at you as a Muslim who walked away from Islam. Because as soon as you were born, you were Muhammadian. And that's the whole goal of Islam, to turn the planet back to its origin, which is Muhammadian.
Well, that's interesting because, of course, people would say, well, Sharia law or these, they don't affect anybody outside of the Islamic circle. They have their own sort of, think of it as traditions. But like you're saying, they see anyone who is not Muslim as actually Muslim but needs to be punished for refusing subjugation.
Yes. What is the word they use? Apostate?
Yes, apostate.
Yes. You see, a lot of people say, oh, we're infidel or proud infidel or kafir. At the end of the day, I have an actual Muslim, by meaning real Muslim, not some people who call themselves Muslims, but real Muslims, we all are apostates because we were born a Muslim, but we chose to have a different faith, so we turned our back to Islam.
Right, and of course that is punishable by death. I had a friend even from her mother from Egypt had to flee. Listen, Annie, sorry, I keep going with Annie. I know it's not the right name. We're going to have to go to a break, and I want to bring you back. LiveUpToFreedom.com. This is fascinating. And she's quite easy on the eyes, too. Thank God she made it to Western culture. Louder with Crowder. Stay tuned. We'll be back more with Anni Cyrus. Glad to be back. LiveUpToFreedom.com. Our guest with us has taken the time educating, illuminating Anni Cyrus. You can follow her on Twitter. Thank you so much for being with us. And I appreciate your candor. I can imagine that this is tough to speak about for a lot of people. Do you just plow through it with anger?
No. I do it because I know I'm taking my revenge.
Oh, okay. So there you go. It's like a Jodie Foster film where she buys a gun and she lurks the New York subways. Mm-hmm. I dig it. I wouldn't want to cross you. Hopefully you've been happy with this interview because I get the feeling that I'd have like a horse head in my bed if you were mad at someone.
You are just great.
Okay.
You're fine.
Well, thank you. So you moved to well, you're in the United States now, and it seems like it's really hard. You're sounding an alarm and people aren't listening. Do you feel like the tide is maybe changing a little bit, that people are becoming more comfortable with recognizing Islam for what it is? I've noticed that if I would have said these things 3 years ago, people would have screamed Islamophobic. But now even some progressives are saying, yeah, it's a problem.
Yes. However, here's the biggest problem. I think it's kind of late already. I don't mean to be the downer here or the negative girl, but I wish they would let you say it 3 years ago. The reason I say it's already late is look at Europe.
Right.
Almost gone. And I don't want to sound all negative, but I don't think they can easily take it back. It's going to take a hell of a lot of work for Europe to go back to what it was. Now, we woke up in America, we started to, let things be. And if we're not talking about it, at least we're not shutting other people either. But the reason it's late is we are the last place for them to take over.
Right.
So our job is a little harder.
It is a little harder. And so I want to take you back to, we talked about this and caught a lot of flack when Dr. Ben Carson said, no, he doesn't think that a Muslim could be president of the United States. He thinks it would be a problem because the Quran it can't really be put alongside the Constitution, that the two are unjustifiable as far as being put in the face of each other as a system of law. Yeah, irreconcilable. Sorry, I was looking for the right word, and my brain is just mush because, you put a pretty lady on screen, and then both of us are dummies. I don't know what happens. Did you hear that? And everyone said he was a racist and he was a bigot. Did you hear that and say, well, of course?
Well, I actually, when he did say that, I was one of the witnesses who went ahead and signed his letter on the article he did. I was one of the people who signed his statement as a witness.
Well, it's one of those things that seems so obvious. Like you said, we need to ban Sharia law. Well, we have constitutional law. We have laws in the United States, which can't be reconciled with Sharia. So it seems like it's already banned. But if you say Sharia law needs to be banned, people go, how dare you? Well, no, it's already banned. Many of the laws individually. Well, here you can't beat your wife. Sharia law says you can beat your wife. Therefore, Sharia law is already illegal.
But no, it's not. How many cases of honor killings did we have in the United States that the person walked away?
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer. I'm betting you do.
We have 4.
4? Like all or last year?
No, 4 in total since this whole mess of Sharia law started spreading in the U.S.
Okay.
We had 4 people, a father and a son, a father, a brother, and another father who actually killed the girl in name of honor killing, and they walked away free based on cultural differences.
Was that the actual legal status?
Yes.
Okay. They wouldn't say like there wasn't enough evidence to convict. They would, if you actually look at the case, it was because of the cultural differences.
Culture, yes.
Good Lord.
So you can't say Sharia is banned here. No. It might be for us, I mean, not even for me, but it isn't for, let's say, a woman who's here. I do have a lot of Muslim women who wants to leave and just have a new life here in U.S., and they are scared of it. We are actually working on a shelter for them, believe it or not. In U.S., they are afraid of leaving their husband and leaving Islam because they know if they get killed, nobody's going to do anything about it.
Right.
It's a cultural difference.
Well,
they are still having Sharia law. At the moment, it's only applying to Muslims.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And their goal is to apply it to all non-Muslims who they see as basically Muslim apostates. So we had a woman on here, we called her Q, who had that situation. She had to be anonymous. And
she's actually an American woman, too.
She's an American woman. She was an American woman who converted to Islam and left, and she basically couldn't let us know who she was, or she said they would take the kids and she'd never see them again because of the way Islamic courts would work, and there's nothing she could do about it. So not afraid of being killed, but she said, no, the law doesn't matter. With these cultures, I would never see my children again. So that is sad. Are you able to set up a shelter? Are you able to get some of these women out, or is it really hard because they've been brainwashed for so long?
Well, it isn't hard. One of the things Live Up to Freedom does, we help people outside of America. Basically, we have had cases where we rescued women from Islamic Republic of Iran with their kid, if they did have any kids, and we take them out. We smuggle them out to other countries, and they go through the proper legal steps of, asylum. They get refugee status. They go to other countries. Inside U.S., however, we are struggling because our own laws are working against us right now. Mm-hmm. Because legally, we cannot actually hide these people.
Right.
If they have kids, our law here says it's a kidnapping. So you see how it works? Yeah. So we don't have the right to do that. They're stopping us from we can't get the paperwork done to where we can actually rescue children and women from Sharia law because to our law, we are basically kidnapping the kids.
Right. Wow.
So no luck here yet.
No, that's another example of sort of leftist tolerance, want-to-be pseudo-multiculturalism really hurting the most defenseless among us when we're supposed to be helping them. In particular, Muslim women. You know, they always trot out on Huffington Post, a woman, I'm a Muslim woman, and I love wearing the hijab. And now there are feminists for Islam all over campus. And it really is sad that it drowns out the voices of people like you and people who you are helping. Listen, we don't have on the schedule for much more today. Will you come back on the program? Because I want to get more into your personal life story next time. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Where's the best place for people to find you before we go?
They can find us on liveuptofreedom.com. And that's the best place to find us, actually.
liveuptofreedom.com. And I bet you she's going to get some suitors saying, hey, I'm a good Western male who will treat you correctly. But she's a nice lady. Don't make passes online. It's creepy. Louder with Crowder. Stay tuned.